How's it going, everybody? My name is Spencer, aka Agent Mulder, and welcome to the War Room. Today we'll be going over our Gears Tactics Tips and Tricks video part 2. In our Gears Tactics Tips video, I'll be going over the 4 soldiers I've been using so far in the game and what type of abilities I've been focusing on and upgrading them with, and then finally a quick look into the Brumak boss battle that you'll be encountering about a quarter into the game. If you enjoy this video and the content on the channel, feel free to subscribe. And don't forget to click on the little bell icon below to be notified of new content every week. Without further ado, let's get started.
What about that?
Well, at least we'll hear it coming.
So the 4 characters I've been running with so far in the game is Gabe Diaz, Sid Redburn, Augustus Coltrane and Mikayla Dorn. I have found a lot of success with these characters, but usually in some of the missions you'll be encountering in the game, you won't be able to take all these characters out at once. If you're only able to take out Gabe Diaz or Cid Redburn, try to bring along a scout trooper with a shotgun with upgraded attachments for close quarters combat, and a heavy machine gunner with a barrel upgrade, an extra drum magazine for quicker load times, and a little more extra damage in his or her bullets. Those kind of missions are mostly for side missions or rescue missions, but for the main story campaign, so far I've been able to run all 4 of these characters without a problem. Let's start with Gabe Diaz really quick on what type of specializations I've been looking at. So Gabe Diaz is my medic in the group. I'm focusing right now on his surgeon and combat medic class. He has been a lifesaver for me in quite a few close encounters, with his abilities to give health to his allies, able to give out bonuses to troopers who killed enemies who get a little extra health, and upgrading his machine gun has made Gabe a very versatile medic. Again, it's your choice how you wish to upgrade him. Now let's talk about Sid Redburn. Sid Redburn is one of my favorite assault troopers so far. Right now I've been focusing on upgrading his paladin, but more importantly his assault class specialization. Upgrading his abilities with his bayonet, which allows him to gain a little extra damage, able to take another action, and to give out extra health to his allies whenever he gets a bayonet kill, comes in handy in close quarters combat. Thanks to this and his upgraded armor and weapons, has allowed Redburn to take a decent amount of damage before going down, if ever during some of the missions I've used him in. Sid Redburn is a great character to focus on the assault specialization for sure. Makes Sid Redburn an excellent tank for your team. But now off to my favorite character so far in this game is Augustus Coltrane. Now for a quick note, I got this character because I pre-ordered the game. At least from what I can recall, that's how I was able to unlock him. As you can see, I've focused heavily on his Shock Trooper and Warden abilities, but more importantly his Shock Trooper. With certain abilities unlocked in Shock Trooper, I'm able to deal extra damage to my opponents, while also buffing my allies with extra damage output whenever Cole gets a kill. Whenever Cole performs a finishing or bayonet charge, he oftentimes will unlock not just 1, but 2 extra actions he can take. Topping this off with upgrading the accuracy of his weapon, I have never once worried about Cole having to hold the line by himself. Because of how powerful Cole is, now focusing on the Shock Trooper abilities, I'm able to send Cole out on missions to look for loot chests across the map, or hold off a group of enemies on his own without a worry about him going down. Augustus Coltrane so far for me is one of the best frontline soldiers in the game. Now Mikayla Dorn's a pretty good sniper in this game so far. I have a few snipers within my roster, but she is obviously one of my favorites. By focusing on her marksman and assassin abilities, she's able to traverse the battlefield very quickly, but more importantly, because of how powerful her shots are, she's excellent to use in boss battles or against heavily armored foes, especially when you're focusing on upgrading her precision shots abilities. These characters are excellent when you're focusing on those particular specializations that I've mentioned already. But one quick little tip for you to know is that if you're having a hard time trying to get certain pieces of gear to go with your characters that you like using, say chest pieces, boots, scopes for your rifles, magazines, if you're having a hard time unlocking loot boxes, try to recruit as many soldiers as you can. The reason why I say this is because when you get new troopers, you can actually take apart certain pieces of gear they've brought along and attach them to the characters you like using. I've done this quite a bit already, while picking up gear off troopers that I've managed to unlock on difficult missions, and give that gear to the characters I like using more often. So keep in mind of those specializations for those 4 key characters if you enjoy using them. Doing this and you'll build a badass team in no time. Now what better way to test out the iron of your new team now that you've focused on these abilities and getting some new gear than in a boss battle. And we're going to talk about the first boss battle you're going to encounter in this game against the Brumak. Now there's actually 3 short stages to this boss battle. At the beginning, the Brumak will be firing missiles off of his back where you'll have 2 areas where the missiles will land that you have to keep your troopers out of. These areas of dangers will increase as the boss battle goes on. Now the best way to take down the Brumak is to split your team up into 2. I recommend splitting up your tank characters, giving one to your sniper and another to your medic. The boss battle will give you 3 3 things you can target at any given time during the fight: the 2 cannons on the Brumak's arms, and his emulsion tank on his back. In order to kill this creature, you'll have to take out the emulsion on his back, but first and foremost, focus all your fire on one of his cannons. Trust me when I say that focusing on these 2 cannons and taking them out as soon as you can will make your life a lot easier in this boss battle. Depending upon who you're running with, you should be able to take out each one of his guns in less than 2 turns, and that's with just regular focus fire. Keep in mind about this boss is that if you're within 10 yards of him, he will make his way over to you and try to stomp on you, doing heavy damage. Try to keep him within the center of the map. Do not lead him into corners because you can find your troopers getting stuck, which could easily lead to instant death because the Brumak will continue to stomp on your characters even when they're down. Because you're splitting up your forces into 2, take 1 firing turn with each team. That way when the Brumak tries to turn around and focus on the enemy that just shot him in the back, your team behind him will be able to shoot the emulsion tank and he'll just keep turning back and forth until your turns are over, weakening this boss and getting through the fight a lot faster. Oh, one thing to bear in mind, if you have Mikayla in this fight, use her precision shots on the emulsion tank whenever you get the chance. It does a huge amount of damage. With just 2 shots alone, from what I've discovered, she can literally take out 1 tank by herself. During the course of this fight, there will be 3 emergence holes that will pop up, and enemies will be dropped in from the sky once in a while. You'll only be encountering a few grunts once in a while with machine guns that you'll have to fight, but the biggest pain to deal with are the wretches. Do your best to send one of your soldiers to one of those emergence holes right before they pop open, and throw a grenade down there as soon as you can. These wretches, although when you normally fight them, they're hardly a pain to deal with, but because of this boss battle and the structure of it, these wretches can actually be more of a pain to fight than the actual Brumak itself. Because this game focuses heavily on keeping your characters on the move, if 1 to 2 wretches surround your character will either be unable to move, or he or she will take heavy damage before they can get to safety. If this happens to you where you're surrounded by wretches, and you're stuck in the red zone to where one of the missiles that the Brumak fire is going to land on soon, have one of your troopers take out one of the wretches, that way it frees one of your soldiers to get out of danger. Don't worry about any leftover wretches that are still stuck in the blast zone of that missile. When the missile comes down, they will automatically be killed. Each emergence hole that shows up, more wretches will continue to pop out of it. That's why it's very important for you to take out the Brumak's heavy guns, that way all you have to worry about while it's trying to walk around to get to your troops. Keep your teams of 2 constantly on the move, use Mikayla's precision shot whenever you get a chance with the canisters, and if you're unfortunately too close to the Brumak, you can use grenades on it to do a little extra damage. It'll take quite a few times before you're able to finally kill this thing. It is a bit of a long drawn out boss battle depending upon what characters you're running with, so just be patient. I was lucky enough to use Mikayla's final precision shot to kill this thing, which was very satisfying after battling this thing for quite a while. Follow these Gears Tactics tips and you'll be fine. And that's all the time I have today here, folks. I'll be going more in depth in Gears Tactics in our part 3 video very soon, along with doing a review on Gears Tactics a little later on next week. So be sure to stick around for that. And as always, thank you so much for watching our Gears Tactics tips and tricks video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe for a lot more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
I think we put a little spine in them.
What the hell did you do? 3 of my people just deserted.
Maybe a little too much spine.
We'll form search parties, go after them. Mikayla, they're not just your people anymore.